let's talk about beginnings. Beginnings are crucial. Everyone knows that. Especially when it comes to the first 10 pages of your screenplay. You want to grab the reader and you don't want to let him go until the very end. But I'm going to let you in on, the number one thing that really needs to be there. That I think is so crucial and often overlooked. And it always makes your script shine. Let's talk about it. But before we get into that one thing, let's look at the beginning of your script and what should be taken care of. Starting with genre. Yes, you need to address the genre. So everybody who picks up the script and starts reading should really understand what the genre is you're writing in. Unless, of course, you're trying something like a genre mix, which probably you should at one point in your career, but maybe it's not a good idea to, get all messy right from the start. And of course, you need to introduce your main character, which totally makes sense because we are going to follow this person's journey throughout the entire script. And also, of course, address the world where the story takes place in. I get to that in a different video, but when setting up a world, it needs to be a kind of static world. Static in the sense of that it gives room for improvement. And of course, you need to address theme. Theme needs to be within your first 10 pages as well. This is nothing new to you. That's just, really basic, storytelling. But what only a few people tell you, and what I'm going to tell you now, is that there is something that really kicks the story into gear and that really glues the reader to the pages. Okay, so now that you've got, all the basic stuff covered, what is the one element that really turns your script into something that you cannot put down? Okay, and the number one thing is urgency. You need to create a situation that is so urgent that people want this situation to get solved. And of course, you're not going to solve it right away because then that would already be the end of your story. But first, let's look at urgency. There are many levels of urgency. Urgency can be that you have a date and you need to be at a certain place at a certain time. That is somewhat urgency. But there's also the urgency that, if a house is on fire, you need to get out of the house pretty quick. Otherwise you die. That is also urgency, but a different kind of urgency. The one that really matters. The one that's primal. Primal urgency is also something that really grabs you, grabs anyone, and it's universal. So whenever you come up with something that is a primal urgency, or that creates primal urgency, that's a good place to start from. The best part about, a primal urgency is that it creates a question. And the question will always be, will they or he or she survive or not? If, we're inside a plane and this plane loses altitude, and we know that we're in big trouble because the plane is going down, because the plane is going to crash. And of course, this creates, what I'm talking about, a kind of primal urgency that needs to be answered. Well, that's the kind of question I'm talking about. So primal urgency leads to a question, and the question will be universal. And of course, another aspect of primal urgency would be falling in love. If someone meets another person and he falls in love with her, at first sight, that's also a kind of primal urgency, because then the question would be, will he ever achieve to be together with this person? It creates some urgency. This is also the reason why, for example, crime stories work so well, or love stories work so well, because they have this kind of primal urgency right from the get-go. So now that we got this covered, there's another element to the primal urgency that you want to take a look at. Storytelling should always be character-driven. So what that means is that the characters should be in charge of how the story evolves. So by making decisions, actively making decisions, the character will define how the story is being told and what, where the story is leading to. So that is a very crucial element to, that you can add to the primal aspect of like the primal urgency. If someone's, driving towards a cliff, of course, everyone gets it that once, he drives over the cliff, it's over. So you have, the kind of primal urgency that I was talking about, but you also have, a decision to be made. The character will need to make a decision, whether to stay in the car, as simple as that, or to jump out of the car right before the moment where the car, drives over the cliff. So that's what I'm talking about, decision making. And if you combine all these elements I was talking about, that's when you have the reader's attention full on. Yeah, so that's it for today. Leave a comment, leave a like, subscribe to my channel to stay tuned on future videos. I will put an example of what I was just talking about in the description below. So make sure you check that out as well. Hope to see you in the next video. Take care, guys, and ride on.